Legend of the Galactic Heroes is, every time like I see that show come on, where it's like on the Crunchyroll update thing, it's like, hey, guess what came out right now? It is always that show where I'm like, click, click, get on, and now I need to watch it. And I feel like every time, regardless of whichever version I'm watching of it, I am enamored by it. Where it's like, no, I love both versions, but it's like, oh, this one has this over this one and that one, and it's like, oh, I have such a fickle like it's not even a love-hate, it's just more love-like relationship where it's like, oh, I love this part, but it's like I prefer they did it this way, and it's like this. No real shock to me when it was like, okay, what are they going to be covering? And it was like, it's the Kyriai's and it is Reinhardt's past. It's there talking about who they were before they actually became soldiers. How did they know each other and come acquainted with? And more importantly, why are they fighting? Like, why are they involved in this war? And it's really like, when you think back to it, it's like just shitty ways, and just shows how much he loves his sister to death, and he would do actually nearly anything to make sure she is safe, she is like away from anything dangerous, and just not just misused and treated as a fucking personal object, which is a really shitty thing to see about. So one thing we do get a little note as well is that before we get more into the flashback, we kind of get a little bit of Kyriai's where he got promoted to 2 ranks, and same thing is with Reinhardt as well. Like, he's a fleet commander. Like, I'm also going off by like the original series as well, which is very hard to keep up with all the information. You're going all the characters, but yeah, a lot of people are like still in the back of the audience. We see a lot of the admirals and a lot of the commanders where it's like they're like, this little brat, he just got lucky with his stupid tactics, and it's like, and the others are like, to be fair, he pulled off some really crazy shit, but he still won us the battle at the end of the day, and you gotta fucking respect that. So there's a lot of, you know, obviously politics like drama going on, and like a lot of people like, you know, saying this and that, and it's like when one captain gets in in front of them, it's like, hey, like when his like soldiers are talking smack about Kyriai's, and like Reinhardt is like, you keep that to your fucking selves. I'm not going to say like you're wrong or anything, but look, we're in a very high place right now. You just keep that to yourself. And weirdly enough, Reinhardt like comes encounter with this Paul Oberstein, which is a creepy ass motherfucker in both versions, where he's got this sleeked back hair, bits of grey going through it, and where you think, where it's like, this guy is evil as fuck because his eyes are glowing and he just looks menacing, you find out it's like this really weird tidbit that, like, I was like, that's something I wasn't expecting to have of this character, but it's like, let's make him look more creepy in the fact that he has artificial eyes, where it's like he has this kind of issue for the older part where it's like, because they had this very weird thing back in there where it's like, if I was back in the old Emperor's rule and all that, where it's like the perfect genetic structure or order that they had, where it's like, which sounds really fucked up, where it's like, no, if you were like deformed, if you had anything wrong with you where it's like that would hinder your, like, you know, your actual living conditions, and it's like you wouldn't be able to work and serve your country, and it's like you would be terminated, you would be dead. It's like, no, because you may have the dangerous of like spreading this upon you, and it's like, oh, the perfect, you know, like at the end of the day, it's like it's Germans. Like, we're talking about like people that are called Reinhardt, Paul von Oberstein and shit like that, and it's like the way how, and also the perfect candidate is a blonde hair, blue-eyed, like dream boy for like everyone. It's like, you know, they're going with that stuff, like with this series, with the war and everything. It's like it takes heavily influences from World War II, and like the thing is, like I said, the show does very well is that it is coloring these characters well, where it's like, no, like, even though they clearly, with their naming and their dress code and everything, is like, they clearly took design things from like obviously World War II and kind of like Nazi stuff, but it's like, no, in a way, because these characters aren't, not all of them are fucking monsters. There are monsters on both sides, which is why I love it, because it's like Gundam in that way, where it's like, no, look at how monstrous the both sides can do some shit, and you see some noble people in there. Like, I mean, Paul like Oberstein, for all I know, could be a monster, but he clearly has some sort of aim where it's like he kind of want to allies himself with Kyriai's, and also as well with Reinhard, like he was giving very subtle hints where it's like where he aligns himself in the whole situation, and it's like, yeah, if like this sinks, if this ship sinks, like mainly talking about the Emperor and everything and all that going down, we know where to put our chips. And Reinhard clearly has a beef because of his sister, who was taking away from him when he was a little kid. We see like when he was first introduced to Reinhard, and it's like there's like a weird little interaction where he's like, "Oh, your name's Siegfried? Oh, that's a commoner's name." And I'm like, I mean, who the fuck? If I ever met someone called Siegfried, I would never say that motherfucker's commoner. It's like, he's some common piece of shit or anything like that. Oh, but Curie Eyes, that's a good name though. It's like, it's this weird introduction. I'm like, who the fuck names their kid like Siegfried these days? If you were like fucking in medieval Soul Calibur shit, or like back in the day Germany, then yeah, but I've never met a person that's like, oh, my name's fucking Sig, and it's like, same thing with like Anorose, like it's like I love like all these names because they're just out of nowhere. It's like these are such the most fanciest, like a lot of them posh ass names you've ever gonna see on a character, and it's like you can see why like more Reinhardt wanted to help him because he actually had a bit of a friendship with Curie Eyes, and it's like no, these two made a bond with each other. Also as well, it's not as really hinted as well in the original anime, but you can tell that Curie Eyes has got the complete hots for Anna Rose, and attraction is like, no, you could see that she like kind of looked up to him. This is where I think there was a little bit of differences and changes with the episodes, I think, and I also saw people talking about in the comments as well that they've been adding stuff from like the 20s and the 40s in this, where it's like you actually see them going to cadet school, you get to see them train. Is like, here is the difference between like us, we're trying to work from the bottom, and it's like literally you have a way harder time, Curie Eyes, because you have to, you're a commoner, and this is only meant for like kind of royal noble, like kind of like people, and you see them work their asses off of this to try and get themselves to join the military. That wasn't in the original series that I've seen yet. I'm like 9 episodes into the original Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I know I'm being very slow with it, and I do apologize for that. I was hoping to be like 20 episodes into the show by then, but when you see this, and it's like, in the original series, when they start talking about it, it was like there was a lot more details about like why Anna Rosa was sold to like the kind of the Emperor, why it was like she was taken away from them, and it was more like a Reinhardt family, no matter how they, even though they were nobles and kind of posh people, it was like they sold it for money, which they needed because they were like skin and they just had no money. It seems like they were like disregarded nobles, or like just they needed it for the lifestyle. And we get to see more of Reinhard kind of freak out about this because he actually goes to a party of nobles and he brings a fucking gun out. Like, he actually, with him and Reinhard, actually go out and pulls a gun on people, and it's like, holy shit, that's fucking nuts. Like, that's crazy. And that was a big difference compared to like this version. And obviously, like, again, I know it's a beaten horse and I have to keep mentioning it, but it's, then again, we're talking about something that's, its pacing is completely different due to the amount of episodes and movies that they can do about this show. Like, that's the clear difference between the two, and it's like, yeah, I understand you have to skim for a little bit, but it definitely, I'd say, like, if you want all the minute details, and like, so far, there hasn't been one thing where it's like, they fucked up, they should have added that scene, but it helps balance a little bit more of the characters. So then again, it's like I'm watching this show, like I'm literally kind of watching the 2 episodes near in repeat as I watch them. Like, I'm watching the episode and it's like, then I go and watch the like anime, and they're both still super interesting and I love it. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, and I will say this show helps with like some of the updated like animation from it, especially when it comes to space battle. It's really setting up, and this is what I like, because like this episode, if I remember as well, like, in the OVAs, was just a straight up Curie Eyes and like a Reinhard episode, but the way how they've been handling it is, one episode we're going to be focusing on Reinhard's story. Next episode, we're going to be focusing on Yang's side of the story, and that's how it was in the OVA. So next episode is going to be interesting as, like, we get to see a little bit more what Yang was up to, kind of like after the situation, and like maybe they're gonna put in some extra stuff which I won't know about Yang yet. But like, yeah, no, I definitely love Yang as a character. Like, from what I've seen of him so far, he's a really great one of the main roles. And yeah, no, overall, the more, like, again, I keep gushing about the show, but it is really good, and I hope people fucking give this show a chance. And it's like, I'm still sticking to my ground so far, and it's like, I will have a full opinion once I've finished the series, both of them, and I know that's going to be a very long time as well for the new version, because obviously the movies, and another series, and another, I think there's like 3 series and 2 movies, or there's going to be like 2 movies and 2 series maybe, but like, so far, it's like, I haven't had anything majorly to complain about. Like, the only thing is like, oh, minute changes here and there, and it's like, I kind of wish that scene, like, there hasn't been an insulting one where it's like, they fucked up, that should have been there, because that helped establish that character, and it's like, that helped paint a better picture on there. I know some people are like, oh, they changed the lines, but here and there, it's like, this character said this, and it made him sound like that, and like, to that point, you're getting to elitist kind of shit at that point, and it's like, if they're still portraying the same words that they are in the original, it is fucking fine, like, on there. Besides, like, again, it's a remake. It shouldn't just be a one-to-one complete, like, same thing with a prettier skin on it. Like, I'm fine with changes like that. I'm fine if they do different things from the source material. Like, I'm sure the original OVA series did some changes as well, and even cut out some stuff from the actual novels. Like again, like, it's a good show, but then again, it's like, maybe this series would have benefited a lot more if it had maybe an extra 13, even 20 episodes on there. But it's like, I can clearly see why they're doing a lot of this, because of pacing issues, and also as well, a lot of people really wouldn't probably stand where it's like, I want to see all these development episodes, and get a lot of people kind of want to see some of the action in there. But personally, I'm here for like the characters. They kind of drive the series more, and also like the tactical plotting. I just can't wait for more. I love the show. I really do. I really like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's so far, out of everything, the one thing I look forward to the most when I'm like, when the season's coming out. I was like, I need to watch this right now. I need to. But yeah, no, that's all from me. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.